Hey, is racism learned or are you just born racist? And what's shocking, I think we all know, it's learned, right? You're not born that way. It's learned, and yet here in Stanley, North Dakota, for kindergartners, you're talking 5-year-olds, they're going to have this curriculum out there, and it even says they announced it. Hey, join us for the next few weeks. We're going to focus on diversity and racism. I mean, let me ask it a better way. Has there ever been a time in your life? I think I'm going to ask our guest this. One of our parents, he was at the school board meeting. He's from Stanley. Jeff Ware is joining us. He actually emailed me the audio of the school board. And Jeff, I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to ask it for our audience as well, so they can all kind of think about this. But think about this for a moment, Jeff. Has there ever been a time in your life when someone's ever communicated or you've heard the word racism and you thought united or unity? Has it ever unified you when you've heard the word racism?
No, absolutely not.
Guys, we don't have his audio. Can we get his audio brought up, Chris? Or if you want to check your audio as well, and we can get a test, guys, that would be fantastic. Jeff, can you
Can
hear?
Can you hear me now?
I got you now, my
All right,
friend.
good.
So my point is, do you hear the word racism? I mean, at least for me, all that does is create divisiveness for me. How about you?
Well, absolutely. There's
So
there's
what's
no
the point?
reason. Well, there's no reason to be teaching it to 6-year-olds. That's for sure.
So you went to the school board meeting in Stanley. I guess a couple things. One, when you saw what was going on here, what was your initial reaction to the fact that because you have a 6-year-old, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
That they were going to be teaching your 6-year-old around racism.
Well, my initial reactions was like, because he's 6, he's in kindergarten. Like we just got to this point, and I didn't think I'd have to deal with this in kindergarten. Um, First reactions were, no, no, I'm not going to allow you to fill his head with things that you think are appropriate and that I don't. And I think that's the school's job, is to just teach them, like you said, reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I was told at that meeting that it's much more complicated than that.
What's much what's much
I,
what's
I
much more
that's great. That's a
complicated?
great question that they failed to elaborate on. Really, you listened to the same audio that I did.
Well, and it just I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole thing, but so
Right.
so help me understand here. You go there and say, "Hey, I just want my kid to go to a good school, have a good time, learn some reading, some writing, and arithmetic." And they're like, "No, it's more complicated than that."
Apparently, it's much more complicated than that. It's very complicated. Our kids are no longer the same kids that we were when we were that age. They told me that kids are different. I didn't understand that either. So our kids are different. They're not the same kids. 6-year-olds are all different now.
So share with us. Take us inside the room. All right. I did listen to some of it, and if you want us to play a little bit, we can. But take us inside the room. You go to the school board meeting, and you wanted to find out more about this curriculum. I presume that's going to teach your 6-year-old about racism. For what reason, I have no idea, but it's
Yeah.
going to teach him about that. What went down in the meeting?
Well, when we all got there, and they went over their budget stuff and their normal board stuff, and then they turned and said, "All right, we're going to address why you guys are here." And as soon as we opened up with, we'd like to talk about the diversity and racism training, uh, like they work at a Fortune 500 company or something. They got to go through training for this, and they immediately got defensive. Like most of the board got defensive immediately and said, "Well, no, that's not what it's about. This is about kindness. It's about kindness." And they kept throwing that out there. And last time I checked, you can teach kindness and respect your peers without bringing race or color or how tall someone is or how big someone is. You don't need to bring that into it. You can just say, you know, don't do to somebody what you wouldn't do to yourself, or act like your mom's always watching.
Well, thank you, and I think that's at least what I'm trying to say. Not so well here, but there is a book that says, "Hey." I'm sure you've probably read some of it. It's called the Bible, where it says love never fails, right? I mean, let's
Yeah,
let's focus on
yeah, it's been around a little bit, yeah.
I mean, love your neighbor as yourself, right? Like, why don't we just do that? And then we've got the whole
Yeah.
kindness thing solved without me. I mean, what was shocking to me, and again, this is the kindergartner piece where it says activity. It just seems so simple. And maybe what's I don't know. But anyways, it says here, introduce the word different and ask students for examples of how our classmates are different. And even like I played at the top of the show. I don't know if you heard it, Jeff, but you and I talked about earlier where MLK says, look, I just want to live in a world where my kids can be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin.
Mhm.
That was 1963, and here we are in 2022, and Stanley wants to have us focus on skin color.
Yeah, it seems like a regression to me. Yeah.
Very well said. Very well. So I'm curious, your son, does he? I mean, he's 6. I get it. So maybe he's not fully processing this. But what's been his feedback, or what have been his thoughts as far as what's going on here? Did you talk to him about this, or?
I did. Yeah, I did talk to him about it. After I read the newsletter, and I asked him how many white friends do you have? He said, I don't know. I said, how many brown friends do you have? He said, I don't know. I said, how many friends do you have at school? And he racked off a bunch of names and all this. It's like, see, he doesn't know what I'm talking about because it's not important to him. So if it's not important to him, then why are we bringing it up and why are we putting it on the front burner? We can just let that go. He doesn't care, so why should we care?
Man, brother, is there any chance that you video recorded that? Because that was beautiful that your 6-year-old said that.
No, I did not. No, I don't put
Right?
my children on videos too much.
But don't you think that's beautiful? He's like,
It is.
What are you talking about? Oh, friends? Oh yeah, I got a
Yeah.
gang of those.
Yeah, I got a gaggle of those. Yeah, I got those everywhere. Yeah. Well, I think every 6-year-old would say something to that, like to that degree. They just have friends and they have people like to play with. It doesn't matter if they're what color.
Sorry,
they
go
are.
ahead.
Oh, it doesn't matter what color they are. They just like to go play. So despite what the board says, 6-year-olds and the 5, 6, and 7-year-olds have not changed at all. They still like to go outside, play with sticks and kick the ball, ride bicycles. They still love to do all those things. Unless you're on the board and you think they don't like to do that anymore.
Kids, they say the darndest things, don't they, Jeff?
Yeah, usually the truth. Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's so beautiful. Here I am trying to sort of frame this conversation in some sort of smart way, and it's so simple. Like, hey, let's just go ask the 6-year-old. Hey, man, what's going on? So, anything else you feel like we should know about what's going on there? I guess the big question now is, so what can people do to ideally put a stop to this?
Oh, you can go to your school board meetings and you can get petitions going around. Like, don't forget, even in a small town or a large city, the school board works for you and they work for your children. The only person that knows what's best for your children is you. You are the parent. Now, I'm not saying that all parents are perfect, but who knows your child better than you do? So get your petitions, go to your school board meetings, actually listen to what they're saying, look over your kids' material, and if you don't like it, I mean, make your voice heard.
Jeff Ware, again, a parent in Stanley. His son goes to the Stanley School District there that wants to, for some reason, talk about diversity and racism in the context of kindness.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know, we got some people texting me saying, hey, this parent is so powerful. So thank you, Jeff, for stepping up and having this conversation. Because, the one thing that I will share, it's really hard when you're in a smaller town because everyone knows everybody about everything. And so I just appreciate your courage to come on and have this conversation. And hopefully you'll be back and we can talk and continue this conversation. And maybe your little guy will join you at some point. We won't have him on camera. He'll be here and say, Chris, what are you talking about? I just go and play with my friends.
Right.
God bless you, Jeff. Appreciate the time, man.
Yep. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Take care. What we'll do is we'll probably put something up where if you want to contact the Stanley School Board and let them know your point of view on, hey, why are we doing this? Why are you planting seeds of racism into these young minds? We all know growing up in an agrarian state, you reap what you sow. I would much rather, you reap what you sow. I'd much rather be, here it is. Thank you, Chris Larson. Super producer Chris has got the names and the emails of the Stanley School Board up there for you. So if you want to watch our live stream, thanks to Sarasota Fargo, check it out.